Hi, my name's Anna.
Hi, my name's Esme.
The cigar capital of the world isn't so far from home. In the early 1900s, Ybor City used to be a rich cultural center filled with the aroma of hand-rolled cigars. Factories bustling with Spanish and Italian workers alike helped build an empire that would last in the heart of Tampa, all thanks to the Cuban cigar. The Cuban cigar industry played a major role in shaping the economy, the culture, and the current environment of Ybor. Today I'll be sharing the origins of the Cuban cigar, how these hand rolls helped found Ybor, and the cultural impact it has that is still visible today. For me to explain the deep history, I'll have to start with the roots of the tobacco industry. In Cuba, tobacco has been a staple crop that has been growing in the country's history for centuries due to its perfect climate. The indigenous people of the Caribbean, known as the Taino, were the first to smoke rolled tobacco leaves prior to Spanish settlement. Cuba was colonized in the 1500s, and the Spanish took to exporting tobacco for big profits. Before long, the Cuban cigar became a major deal, and by the 19th century, it was world famous. But where does Ybor City in Tampa come into the picture, and why does the focus turn from Cuba? Well, in the late 1800s, there was a raging civil war between Cuban citizens and Spanish rule. During this period of war, many cigar manufacturers moved 90 miles north to Key West. But Tampa had everything the manufacturers could dream of. Tampa's warm climate and ports made it very easy to grow and export tobacco leaves. According to the Library of Congress, Ybor would be founded in the year 1886 by a man, Vicente Martinez Ybor. He would become the entrepreneur to help start this big cigar industry. Vicente was Spanish, and he had worked in Havana, moved his business to Key West, and eventually Tampa, Florida. He employed plenty of Spanish and Italian immigrants, as well as Cubans, to help work at his factories and offered good jobs, homes, and social centers for them to partake in. Eventually, Ybor would find itself making hundreds of millions of cigars a year. The immigrant workers took major pride in their craft, and while rolling would listen to stories and news. The industry would be massive for the next few decades until the Great Depression. Eventually, companies started cutting workers and opting for machines that could, well, just do the job well enough. Soon enough, the Great Depression and Cuban trade embargo of the 1960s would greatly diminish the Cuban cigar industry. By the middle of the 20th century, most of these factories would close their doors. Though this was the case, many factories are still erect in Ybor today, and a lot of them are turned into museums, shops, and restaurants. The City of Tampa's website states that Ybor City is one of the only few National Historic Landmark districts in the state of Florida. That's why beautiful brickwork and charm still grace the streets that we see today. Today, most factory buildings are replaced by small shops in Ybor, such as La Farona. This is where they still hand roll cigars, and you can find these shops on the streets. You can feel the thick and beautiful culture still lingering in the air, just like the Cuban smoke before. Ybor City has a deep history tied to Cuban cigars, and the community it has made is ongoing and culture forward. This city, established by immigrants for immigrants, led to one of the biggest cigar empires in the world, and the Cuban cigar shaped the economy of Ybor, the culture within, and its image today.